got that audio show stopping.
Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Gettin Cheezy with Van and Jeezy. I'm Van.
And I'm Jeezy.
Check out what Jeezy did this week.
How are they going to check it out, Van? How do they go and check it out?
Well, Jeezy, glad you asked. They check it out by calling or texting our new phone number.
Phone numbers? Aren't those from like 1970?
That's right. Too bad we don't have an actual tape recorder. But we do have a voicemail system. We are using Google Voice. You can call us. You can text us. We'll get your message. The phone number, should you care to call us, is 980-2-CHEEZY. That's CHEEZY. Or, in numeric format, 980-224-3399. We so fancy.
Hit us up, 980-2-CHEEZY.
I like it. Should we start the show for real?
I think we did.
All right. Well, this week I came across an article that, unfortunately, the days of Todd Gurley being an every down back are gone.
Are you sure?
Article here from clutchpoints.com. Seems to be mostly due to the health of Gurley's knee.
I mean, the thing about it is, we saw him basically disappear in the postseason last year. The Super Bowl was what, in February? We're only a handful of months really removed from that, and he was basically a non-factor. It was obvious to me that something wasn't right, something was off with him then, months ago. And so, Clutch Points is making some news. Todd Gurley, obviously a big name, but I think this is just further piling on that Todd Gurley, an amazing running back for the last handful of years, can only take so much of that stress, and his knee that had the surgery on it, it's just continuing to show wear and tear.
I hope it doesn't end up a situation where we ask ourselves what could have been with Todd Gurley had his knee not taken the beating it had. Sean McVay said earlier that he wants Gurley to play about 5 or 10 pounds lighter to make him a little bit more comfortable.
Well, one of the things that's obvious is the Rams want to spread the workload around. They picked up Darrell Henderson with the 70th overall pick. He comes in with a pretty good record. It says here from the Clutch Points article, as a junior with the Memphis Tigers, he rushed for over 1,900 yards and 22 touchdowns. And expectations are high that he can be a solid part of the Rams offense for many years to come. So, it's not to say that the Rams aren't already thinking about how to complement Todd Gurley's running game with someone else. In the years past, he had C.J. Anderson back there. C.J. Anderson, of course, is a bruiser, but the job was really Todd Gurley's at that time. Now he could become more of a running game by committee. I don't think that necessarily hurts that team. I think they've got a young guy coming in who can do some dynamic things, so we'll see.
And honestly, I feel like running back by committee is probably the safest way to go if you do have a talented backfield. Look at our situation right now in Green Bay. We've got Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams, and we've got a new guy.
The guy from Notre Dame. What's his name? We are both shitting the bed right now.
Hey, Google. Packers 2019 draft pick out of Notre Dame. Dexter Williams. Thanks, Google. Anyways, I feel like it's a safe bet. You have one guy goes down, the other two could pick up the workload. Different styles of running back. You can have a thumper, you can have a slasher. But I think the days of relying on one guy to set your entire backfield are vanishing. So maybe taking the workload off of Gurley also extends his career a little bit. You take a little bit of workload off of him. He can give his body a little break. Maybe he stays around a few more years.
The thing is, he's already had so much wear and tear, and his knee has been surgically repaired. You don't want to discard a human, but there is a kind of next man up kind of mentality in all sports. And obviously, this is just a sign that Gurley, as talented as he is, and I think he's an incredible talent, his days as a full featured back are short, and perhaps his career in the NFL may be numbered.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see how the Rams play that one. I'm going to skip ahead in our note section here to another topic to briefly mention, because given the opportunity, I will always take the chance to shit on the Bears a little bit.
What? You got your trousers down already?
Oh, you know it. I'm recording from my laundry room today, and there's actually a toilet in my laundry room, so...
Oh, my word. Please don't poop. Please don't poop on the show.
It's going to be fine. The Bears unveiled the uniforms they're using for the throwbacks this year. It's an homage to their 1936 jerseys. It's got some weird stripes on it and stuff. Pretty much it looks like, hey, we're the Michigan Wolverines, but blue and orange. They look awful.
What about those socks, though?
What about them?
Could you wear those socks underneath your dress slacks into dress shoes?
Yeah, that's exactly what they look like. It looks like you're around the conference table and, the big wig crosses his legs and you get a flash of his socks and you go, oh, he's a hip CEO. He's with it.
Because he's got orange and blue striped socks.
That's correct. These uniforms are atrocious, and pretty much everybody in the world agrees, except for the Bears. They're doubling down on it.
I don't hate them. I don't think they're atrocious.
I will say that no matter what, they're better than our throwback uniforms. Ours are the definition of atrocious.
You're just talking about the blue sweaters?
The blue sweaters with the dookie brown pants and the helmets by Lisa Frank.
No, the pants are dookie brown. It looks like a dude wearing like a pair of khakis and a blue sweater.
No, those pants are like, they started out white, but you got dusty enough from just life where they ended up being almost dookie brown. And the helmets are like bright yellow and they like sparkle a little bit, which is why I say that they're helmets made by Lisa Frank.
I guess. I'm just saying, I think the Bears jerseys are all right. But shit on them as you will. I will not stop your shitting.
Well, I have shat. And with that, let's move forward.
Alrighty then.
Carson Wentz gets himself a new contract.
4 years, $128 million. Average annual salary is $32 million a year.
That's $2 million a game.
That's damn near Aaron Rodgers dollars.
Yeah, Rodgers is making $33.5 a year. Actually, I've got a tweet here from Albert Breer, highest paid quarterbacks per year. Russell Wilson, $35 mil. Aaron Rodgers, $33.5. Matt Ryan, $30. Kirk Cousins, $28. Jimmy G, $27.5. Matt Stafford, $27. Derek Carr, $25. Andrew Luck, $24.6. Does Carson Wentz deserve to fit in that kind of company, snuggled between Aaron Rodgers and Matt Ryan?
I don't think so. But Carson Wentz is actually a very good quarterback. He really is. I mean, the stats are there. If I'm being generous, I could say that he definitely helped his team win a Super Bowl. I mean, he didn't go out there and lead his team to a Super Bowl, but he helped his team get a Super Bowl.
Without a doubt.
His leadership, his skill, his performance in that season, that brings that team the belief to do it. And, Nick Foles brings it home together with the rest of the Eagles. So, props to them. But Carson Wentz hasn't finished the last 2 seasons on the field.
Exactly.
Unless you want to call the sideline being on the field. And at $32 million...
That's a heavy-ass paperweight.
That's a heavy paperweight. Very heavy, very expensive. I mean, really, when you get down to it, I think that they were stuck in a tough place, right? Because Nick Foles was doing his thing. He was really showing that he was better than some of the shitty starters in the league. And so he earned his way to play somewhere else. So he's off to Jacksonville to take over for Blake Bortles down there.
Blake Bortles.
And so...
That's a throwback to one of our earliest episodes, by the way.
It really is, yeah. We need to start collecting sound bites.
Ooh, yeah. We can end up like one of those radio programs where you start in like... Van Injury.
Yeah, something like that could be good. Something like that could definitely be good. Anyway, all I'm saying is Carson Wentz, he just hasn't finished a season, and now he gets a big paycheck. Now, Philadelphia has used a strategy of trying to find superstars early, extending them early for a pretty decent length of time, and reaping the benefit of basically locking them in at a lower price. So I see some wisdom in that. But $32 million per year, that's the gamble, seems like a lot to me.
So anyways, going back to that tweet that I mentioned, running from Andrew Luck to Russell Wilson, that's chronologic as well. These contracts are exponentially increasing in price, but as I've mentioned before in the show, I hesitate to be throwing money willy-nilly at these quarterbacks that haven't really proved themselves. Looking at you, Patrick Mahomes.
Don't get me fucking started on Patrick Mahomes again.
Oh, I want to get you started on Patrick Mahomes again.
Patrick Mahomes is going to get fucking paid. There is no $100 and some odd dollar shit. He's going to crack the 2. His first number will be 2.
It probably will. And then he's going to take a giant shit. That'll be the new world's heaviest paperweight.
I mean, if he gets hurt, that's horrible because that dude is a bright star in the NFL. He is an exciting player to watch. I think he's one of those players that transcends team politics. I like going and peeking at the Chiefs from time to time to see what Patrick Mahomes is doing.
I guess you're always taking a gamble no matter what you do. He's not healthy. He doesn't stay healthy. Who's even backing him up?
I have no idea. Not Nick Foles.
Can Google come through twice in the clutch here? Hey, Google, who are the Eagles quarterbacks for 2019? These are a lot of people.
Number 1, Carson Wentz. Number 2, Nate Sudfeld.
Who is that?
Nobody knows. Number 3, Clayton Thorson.
Who is that?
Nobody knows. Number 4, Cody Kessler.
I actually recognize that name.
Nobody knows.
Basically, Carson Wentz has not proved himself an entire season he can stay healthy, and you've got no one behind him.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Trust me, we know in Green Bay how dangerous that is.
Yes, we definitely do.
I don't know, man. Anyways, it happened. He got this extension. This kind of drives up the price for Dak Prescott and Jared Goff because those two guys are due some money pretty soon here.
So both of them, just like Wentz, they have all 1 year left on their rookie contract. And so basically it's from now until that thing expires that they have to reach a term. So the Eagles jumped on it immediately. They set the bar, and now Goff and Prescott, they get the benefit of going forward. Now, I think in some respects, Carson Wentz is trying to be a little bit cordial with the Eagles, knowing that he's got some injuries. He is a risk for them going forward. He accepts this contract early. He could have been a holdout like some of these other quarterbacks we've seen over the years. I think Kirk Cousins is a good example of that.
And then he shit the bed in Minnesota anyways.
But he got paid. That dude got paid.
He did get paid. He did. And like I mentioned, this kind of drives the price up for Dak Prescott and Jared Goff. And if you look at the two players, Carson Wentz and Dak Prescott, they're pretty similar. They're almost actually equivalent.
It depends on if you do career stats versus most recent years. But overall, yeah, pretty comparable.
One thing I will say, Dak Prescott has started every single game in his 4 years.
Yeah, since he's been a starter, he's never missed a game. The other thing about Dak is, unlike Carson Wentz, he has won a playoff game.
That's true. Now, I'm not going to say that Carson Wentz couldn't have won that playoff game before he got injured.
But, of these three quarterbacks we're talking about, there's only one on that list that doesn't have a playoff win. We're talking about you, Carson Wentz. Dak Prescott got an over 600 winning percentage. He's young. He can be effective with the right scheme around him, the right teammates around him. And I think he is somebody who can win games in the playoffs and take his team to the Super Bowl. Now, the difference I will say here, though, is Carson Wentz is a person who has the talent and ability to win games regardless of who's around him. Dak Prescott, I think, will require a supporting staff around him. He's not a player who can carry a whole team. Carson Wentz, I'm not saying he can do that, but I think he's someone who could play from behind. He's someone who can win with greater adversity.
Yeah, I'm scanning this article, and you had it labeled in our notes as a very pro-Eagles article.
Yeah.
And do you know how I know it's a pro-Eagles article?
Why is that?
In big, bold letters, one of their reasons why this is a good idea was Carson Wentz is really good, and the Eagles would not have won a Super Bowl without him.
I saw that.
That's exactly how I read it in my head. Carson Wentz is really good.
Carson Wentz is good.
No, he's really good.
Here's the thing. What happens in 2015 to Carson Wentz? I'll give you a hint. It's called a broken wrist. What happens to him in 2016? I'll give you a hint. A hairline rib fracture. What happens to Carson Wentz in 2017?
What's that?
ACL, LCL tears. What happened to him in 2018?
What's that?
I'll give you a hint. A fractured back.
And people say he's got a history of injuries, blah, blah, blah. Injuries, a lot of times, are not the player's fault. So you say a guy's injury prone, you say he gets hurt all the time. A lot of times, it's not his fault. It's just how the game goes. It's unfortunate, but it's how the game goes. It's not necessarily like he's doing anything to get himself hurt.
Right. I do have to say, I don't know if it's ridiculous or not, but again, because it's so pro-Eagles, I'm just going to go ahead and mention that here again. But here's the quote. To his credit, Wentz is trying to focus on what he can control. He said he's improved his diet. He's worked on different training techniques. Wentz has looked pretty healthy and sharp during OTAs, so he's off to a good start.
Gold star sticker for Carson Wentz. This dude is trying to justify out of his mind.
Yeah. They do have to pay Carson Wentz, and the earlier, the better. I just feel like it's a lot of fudging money for Carson Wentz.
It is. This article is from Brandon Lee Gouton, and the website is bleedinggreennation.com. This dude pulls all his facts from Pro Football Reference and sorts them by what is convenient to him. Now people are making shit up. They're referring to depth-adjusted completion percentage over expectation.
What the fuck is that?
I don't know, but it's fucking stupid. Okay, it calls out pass attempts, completion percentage, expected completion percentage, and differential. Shouldn't your expected completion percentage be 100% every time?
I don't know. If I was throwing a pass, I would not expect me to complete it.
This guy is off his rocker, dude. Anyways, first and foremost, he's getting overpaid. But I think it has a larger effect than just what is happening to Carson Wentz, obviously, by continuing this trend of paying quarterbacks way too much.
It's like when you buy a house a little bit and you end up house rich but cash poor.
Exactly. You dump all your money in one player. Now, if you don't have the quarterback, you don't have anything generally. If you don't have a quarterback, generally your team is trash.
It's definitely true.
But you have to spread it around. You can't just take and dump it all. And at the end of the day, if you're really a team player, and maybe this is so naive of me, but like if I'm a guy like Aaron Rodgers, why do I care how much money I make? I already have hundreds of millions of dollars. It doesn't matter at that point. You can play for free. Who cares?
I mean, Chris Long played for free.
Yeah, gave his whole salary away. We'll see where it goes from here. That's all I have to say about that.
Well, I'm cheesing my way back to you, Van.
Yeah.
With a burning cheese inside. It's the Packer section, everybody.
Yeah. We talked about last week my man crush on David Bakhtiari, not only for his wonderful skin complexion, but also for his beer chugging skills.
Seems well justified.
He's so dreamy. It's now kind of taken off. There's a lot of players that are doing a beer chugging challenge trying to put Aaron Rodgers to shame.
I saw Matt Stafford chug a beer recently, and Trubisky. We only need Kirk Cousins to complete the NFC North.
Shit, I think we chugged beers better than Aaron Rodgers did this weekend.
Whoops. I was very thirsty this weekend.
It was a good time. Aaron Rodgers says in the most Aaron Rodgers way possible, for some of them, there's finally a talent where they can say that they are better than me.
Boo!
What do you mean, boo? What do you mean, boo?
It's just too condescending for my taste.
It's a little bit arrogant, but fun at the same time.
Maybe. I wish he would have just left it at the next time Scotch drinking contest.
That was good, too.
That was funny, that was classy, and it made it sound like, hey, I'm still one of the guys. This is too much for me. I don't like it that much.
Well, you don't have to. I think it was wonderful.
I would prefer Aaron had just stuck with, hey, man, next time Scotch.
He could have said, hey, man, I'm just better than you. Don't beat around the bush about saying, well, maybe they can find something they're better than me at. No, just... hey, I'm better than you.
That's true. I think I would have liked that better also. You might drink beer better than me, but I'm still just generally better than you.
And then you see people come out of the woodwork like, well, Aaron Rodgers can say he's better quarterback, but at least these other guys love their families. It's just fucking...
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, it was better when all he said was, next time, make it Scotch. That was perfect. That's all you had to say.
But people are going to shit on other teams' quarterbacks no matter what.
You know what's interesting? I had a discussion earlier with a guy at work about the Carson Wentz deal, and he was talking about how Matt Stafford is one of the anomalies where, despite being injured twice, he broke both collarbones early on. He came back and has not been really seriously injured since. And collarbones are one of those things, as we well know in Green Bay, that are...
They're tricky.
They're tricky, and they can lead to repeat injuries. So
you could end up like Aaron Rodgers with 12 screws in your shoulder.
Exactly. So that's what he was saying. He's like, you got to pay Carson Wentz, and you never know. You might end up with somebody durable as Matt Stafford, who came out looking like he was made out of glass and has really proved to be kind of an Iron Man there in Detroit.
I want to point out again my feelings on Matt Stafford. Megatron made him look awesome because all he had to do was get the ball within 6 yards of the target, and he was bringing it in.
I always remember the graphic, and I know I've brought this up before, but they showed one day that it's like a 3-car garage that you could throw. Like, if you could throw it within a 3-car garage, you could hit Megatron. A huge swath of high, low, left, right, deep, short that you could throw to Megatron and still have a shot for him to recover it.
Which is why Matt Stafford has the numbers he has.
It's also why Megatron got destroyed and quit early.
That's also true. Rewinding here to talking about how much better Aaron Rodgers is at things than other people. He's also very financially savvy.
Is it because he invested in Denny's early?
That would have been the financially savviest move. That's the move that you and I make. Don't tell anyone, but that's the move that we make.
I've got all my dollars stuffed in my mattress. It's ready to be shipped off to Denny's at any moment.
So Aaron Rodgers just recently launched a $50 million venture capital fund called RX3 Ventures. Rodgers started the venture capital fund with Brian Roth, who is the CEO and co-founder of Roth Capital Partners, and Nate Robb. Rabe?
Raabe.
How are double A's
Raabe.
pronounced? Rabe?
Oh, Rob.
Who previously ran Roth Private Capital Group. Now, Jeezy, I'm not the smartest man. I'll admit that. You probably know more about venture capital funds than I do, so I'm going to let you roll a little bit here.
I haven't read any of this.
Oh, well. Anyways, Rodgers says... He says, and this is an article from 247sports.com, who we rely on heavily on the show. With RX3, I saw the opportunity to create an investment platform that brings together a group of like-minded, influential investors and their respective networks with the backing of institutional resources. He also owns part of the Bucks. He's not a dumb guy, obviously. He's got himself, he's a smart guy.
In my experience, a capital venture fund is one that's looking for startups that need guidance and money and
it's like Shark
infrastructure.
Tank, right?
They're looking for all those things, right? Is that what we're talking about? We're not talking about they started a mutual fund with a lead investor who's investing in existing companies and then we buy into it.
No. It says RX3 has a deep roster of influencer investors, one of them actually, Green Bay Packers wide receiver, Heisman winner, and Super Bowl 31 MVP, Desmond Howard.
Oh, wow, Desmond Howard.
Skateboarder, Ryan Sheckler.
He's very famous, actually.
And former NASCAR driver and Aaron Rodgers' girlfriend, Danica Patrick.
Well, there you go. Now we know how Aaron Rodgers got convinced into it.
Is a venture capital fund, is that essentially the Shark Tank?
It kind of is. It depends. I mean, it depends. Usually,
is Aaron Rodgers Mark Cuban?
He might be, but it always depends because venture capital can be at different levels of startup. You know, there can be at that very low level where you're looking for angel investors who are trying to just get these smaller things off the ground versus Series A, Series B. You know, there's all of these different levels of investment. So I don't know really anything about theirs, but, you know, it's just to say I don't know where they're looking, what size companies they're looking for, what level they are expecting companies to already be at. I don't know.
All right, so hear me out on this one. Hear me out. Let's go ahead and let's just pitch our podcast to Aaron Rodgers. See if we can get ourselves a little bit of this $50 million coming our way. Are we established enough to end up on the Aaron Rodgers Shark Tank?
This says that the fund expects to make investments in the $1 to $3 million range going forward. So these are not for angel investment, but these are for businesses that are already doing things and looking to expand. Kind of small businesses looking to make the jump towards, you know, kind of a big small business.
So let me ask you again. Will Aaron Rodgers give us somewhere between $1 and $3 million for this podcast?
If he is smart, he will. But I suspect that he will, because he's a very smart man.
Do you think what the first thing we're going to do with this guaranteed money we're absolutely getting from Aaron Rodgers could be to get out of our laundry rooms and bathrooms to record somewhere like, you know,
a closet,
somewhere not hovering toilets and washing machines?
One would hope. Thank you, Aaron. We appreciate your contribution to the show.
That you are most certainly absolutely making to us.
In the near future.
You can go ahead and just drop us a text at 980-2-CHEESY. That's 980-224-3399. And you just drop us that text, and we'll tell you right where to send the money.
You can also send it to us via PayPal, Google Wallet, and Apple Pay.
We also accept personal checks.
We accept personal checks?
Of course we do.
Ew.
It's going to be interesting to see what Aaron Rodgers backs here. How does one even go, seeking out money from a capital venture, whatever it is?
I mean, this says they already have an established network, so I would assume that they have some kind of first-level contacts who then make recommendations, introductions, that kind of thing. Or maybe there's, all of these huge city incubators that also do similar things that, you know, they incubate small companies and businesses and take all the pitches and everything and listen to them and decide if they're a good fit for it. Because, I mean, investment is much more than finding a good business. It's about finding the right investor as well. You know, it's a two-way street.
But no one called us. What are you talking about?
We just got our phone number. They didn't know until today.
Oh, damn it. Damn it.
They'll probably call next week.
So not only are you getting a wonderful episode of Gettin Cheezy with Van and Jeezy, you are also getting a financial lesson from Jeezy.
I mean, I don't know if I would go that far. I've really taught nothing on this episode.
There will be a quiz later on venture groups. Oh, look at you going and changing the spelling of capital in the notes. Capital venture. Sorry. How illiterate of me. I saw you go and delete that and change the spelling of the word capital in the notes just now.
It's not my fault that you had a typo. Don't be crying now. Don't cry on me, Van.
Let me rephrase my previous statement. You're getting a financial lesson as well as a spelling lesson from Jeezy this week.
I don't know about that much. That's too far. It's too much. Oh, it's time for the Gossip Girl section.
That was a little half-hearted because I've been thinking the entire week about, like, maybe we should change the name of this section. It's not necessarily gossip anymore. It's more like what weird stuff is going on. What semi-football related yet still football related items are going on. Listeners, if you'd care to give us any ideas for the Gossip Girl section potentially being renamed, any thoughts?
Yeah, call in 980-2-CHEEZY with a Z.
Juju went to prom.
Juju Smith-Schuster?
He just keeps showing how much better than Antonio Brown he is.
He's not played football yet, so we can only say that he's much friendlier.
He's played football.
I mean, not this season, not since we've been talking about him a bunch again.
Well, this is an article from Insider.com, not TMZ.
Why not TMZ?
Because I found it somewhere else.
I actually saw this on Twitter.
Anthony Molarino, who's a senior at Chartier's Valley High School in Bridgeville, Pennsylvania. He was left dateless for the prom. He messaged Juju to see if he could fill in, and Juju said yes. They wore matching velvet tuxedos.
These velvet tuxedos, first off, they are like deep greeny color, like emerald.
They're like green, blue.
Maybe aquamarine. A velvet suit, it looks like a velour suit, basically, but in a tuxedo form.
They're swaggy. They're so swaggy.
It's pretty tight that he showed up and gave that.
Jeezy, you're the authority on fashion on this show. Would you give it the Jeezy swaggity approval?
I would say for special occasions, I would give it the thumbs up. I would rock that just once, special occasion style, but that's not something you can wear unless you're trying to be outrageous, intentionally outrageous.
How many cheeses would you give it on the cheese scale?
I mean, for an occasion when you want to be outrageous, I give it all the cheeses in the world.
I want to be outrageous every second of every day of my life. Is it appropriate to wear to work?
No. There is never a day in the regular 365-day calendar for a regular office/business/other regular job where you wear velvet to work.
But what if it was velvet suit day at work?
If there are 365 days in a year, 365 and a quarter if we want to be technical. If there are really 365 and a quarter days per year, exactly 0 days of them are wear velvet to work day.
I'm gonna fucking look it up right now. What are you talking about?
Wear velvet to work day?
I'm looking it up right now.
What are you gonna find? Facebook's fucking employee handbook?
Can Google come through in the clutch 3 times? Hey Google.
On the 13th day of the 13th
wear
week.
velvet to work day. This is how to wear velvet in the daytime is the first response.
Yeah, you should never wear velvet during the daytime.
People also ask, is it too early to wear velvet? What fabric goes with velvet? Can you wear velvet on velvet? And what complements velvet? And the second link is how to wear velvet, in parentheses, without looking over the top.
Velvet is always over the top. That's what I'm trying. I think I said that already.
Here it is. From agallonofglitter.com, article titled, Workwear Wednesday, How to Wear Velvet to the Office.
What? This is why this section is still called Gossip Girl.
Oh, you know what? Okay. The woman featured in this article is wearing velvet shoes, not really a velvet anything else.
I mean, okay, if you want to wear a velvet shoes or a velvet purse or a velvet headband, I've seen some weird, like, velvet bracelet things. Fine, okay? Those are fine.
Is this turning into a fashion podcast?
No.
Oh, okay. Juju, once again, showing how much better he is than Antonio Brown. And actually, there's a clip here. The kids started chanting, fuck AB, and they started making it rain with money.
Oh, my God. Here on the Cheezy Podcast, we are all about the bro love, and Juju took the bro love to the maximum. And for that, Juju, thanks for reminding us all that what this world really needs is more bro love. And more love in general, just generally. More love generally.
You're not wrong.
Do something good for somebody.
Thank you, Juju, for being a candle in this dark, dark world. Next topic here, pretty good.
This is too cute.
So adorable. I got this from I got this from NBC Sports Facebook page. Jarvis Landry's daughter made a friend. Now, that sounds mundane, right? It sounds like, oh, yeah, kids make friends all the time. Jeezy, who is the friend she made?
It's a tiny little deer that looks like Bambi.
It does. It's so adorable.
And his daughter is so small and cute herself, and the baby deer is so small and cute. It's ridiculous.
Can you make a point to upload this video to our website somewhere?
We'll have to figure out a way to get this, at least on our social media. I think we could do that.
She's wearing shoes that are too big for her feet, like slightly too big for her feet. And she's not dressed up like the kids are nowadays. She's dressed like we were when we were kids, like when your parents made you wear ridiculous clothing.
That's right.
But she's just petting this little baby fawn, looking cute.
Awesome.
That's really all we have to say about that one. That's another little bit of happiness in the world. Jeezy, lay it on me. Our interesting take section this week.
This time we went to Sports Illustrated. This is written by the MMQB staff, and they lay out a handful of cities that they think would be the most deserving cities to get an expansion team from the NFL. We should go quick through the list, and we'll maybe come back to a few of these. First one they list, the Austin Coyotes, Montreal Rogues, the Portland Pinots, I believe.
Yeah, Pinots, like Pinot Noir.
Oh, Pinot Grigio.
Pinot Grigio.
The San Diego Sculpins, the Oklahoma City Lightning, the Quad City Tractors, which I think might be my favorite, the Anchorage Orcas, and the Bismarck Glaciers.
These all sound like AAF teams.
I mean, they really do sound like AAF teams. So going back, the first team was the Austin Coyotes. It's hard for me to say that I want.
No, they already have too many teams.
You got to remember, though, that Texas is huge. I mean, they've got Houston, they've got Dallas. This is Austin.
Don't care. Okay.
All right, fine.
Also, it's too hot down there. Fuck that, man.
So then we'll go into the Montreal Rogues.
I think about these things like, so I'm in North Carolina, and the Charlotte Checkers just won the Calder Cup. I was talking to a guy at work. I said, what's the mascot for the Checkers? He said, it's a polar bear. I said, it doesn't make any sense. Shouldn't it just be two old men sitting at a table playing checkers? The Packers, we don't have a mascot because it doesn't make any sense to have a mascot. You're not going to have a UPS man walking up down the side of the fields. It doesn't make any sense.
That would be kind of cool, though. We should get USPS down the side. It'd be cheaper.
We do have connections to the USPS.
That's right. Calling all Jeezy brothers. Calling all Jeezy brothers.
Woo, woo. It's actually the Patrick Wee Woo. Wee Woo Woo.
Oh, my God.
The Montreal Rogues, like, again, what's your mascot going to be?
I mean, it sounds like a D&D character.
Like a mage?
Yeah, that's what I would imagine.
Or a druid? Here's what they say, though. They say, Canada, obviously, right? They say it's actually a nod to the CFL, where a rogue is a 1-point score that doesn't exist in American football. And I'm now calling in Google for the 4th time this episode.
Oh, my shit.
To help me out with, hey, Google, what is a rogue in Canadian football? In Canadian football, a single, also called a single point or a rogue, is a 1-point score that is awarded for certain plays that involve the ball being kicked into the end zone. That is not very helpful, Wikipedia. Let me read further. A single is awarded when the ball is kicked into the end zone by any legal means other than a conversion of a successful field goal, and the receiving team does not return or kick the ball out of its end zone. A single is also recorded if the kick travels through the end zone or, other than on a kickoff, the ball goes out of bounds in the end zone without being touched.
Interesting.
But, a rogue.
Swag, 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 swag.
The Portland Pinots. I mean, come on.
It says that the Willamette Valley, again out there in Oregon, is most likely home to the last great Pinot Noir you drank.
They would have a good mascot. It would just be a drunk.
Oh my God. What do you call it? The Portland Winos? What is the deal here?
That's not bad, actually.
What? That's what?
There's apparently actually a petition already going around and a Twitter handle to bring the NFL to Portland. It started about 5 years ago. 4,600 people signed this petition, and the Twitter account is at NFL to Portland.
I have to take a look at that. San Diego again. Didn't they just lose the Chargers?
Yeah.
So why should they get another team? What's the point of giving San Diego another team? Just so they can lose it again? If they can't take care of their stuff, it doesn't mean they should get something nice and new.
You said that in the way a parent says, if you can't say something nice, you shouldn't say anything at all.
Yes.
What's a Sculpin?
It says, as for the name, I propose naming the team after my favorite beer from the city.
Oh.
It's a beer.
This is dumb. The Oklahoma City Lightning, they've already got the Thunder in basketball. Whoa, Thunder and Lightning. This is stupid.
That's what I call my fists.
No, you don't. You don't call your fist anything. Stop lying.
Thunder and lightning.
You're lying to everyone.
Laser and blazer. Captain America and Iron Man.
These are all lies. He doesn't say these things.
These are the names of my fists for different occasions.
He's lying about all these things. I guess this article says the Oklahoma City TV market ranks number 41 in the U.S., just behind Vegas at 40 and higher than Jacksonville at 47, New Orleans at 50, and Buffalo at 53.
Wow. I didn't think New Orleans was so low, but I guess.
Yeah, me either. I can't believe Buffalo's so high. And Vegas is so low. But anyways, this one is by far the best. Like, not even close.
Agreed. I love this.
The Quad City Tractors.
First off, the Tractor is such a good mascot. It seems like, I don't know why there's not a professional team already called the Tractors.
And by the way, the Quad Cities refers to Davenport, Bettendorf, Moline, and Rock Island, the 4 cities there, eastern Iowa, western Illinois. And actually, Rock Island had an NFL team called the Independents back in 1920 and 1926 when the Bears were the Decatur Staleys and the Packers were funded by the Acme Packing Company.
Hold on here, you illiterate. That says the Decatur Starleys. The Decatur Staleys.
Speaking of illiterate.
I'm just a mumble mouth. You called that the Decatur.
I was trying to sound fancy.
That says Decatur.
Decatur. They also call out the fact that Green Bay's current population, 105,116 people. The Quad Cities has 385,630 people.
Yeah, I mean, and I bet you they have a good old time out there watching some football.
Second best on the list, the Anchorage Orcas.
These jerseys would be tight. I might have to get a jersey if they come out.
Where are you seeing jerseys?
There's no picture. I'm just imagining the Anchorage Orcas.
You're making shit up.
I am. I'm using my imagination.
You're making shit up.
It's imagination.
This would be badass, like, because it would be constantly frozen during football season. Can you imagine the Miami Dolphins going to play the Anchorage Orcas? It'd be the Battle of the Sea World.
They said it would have to be a roofed venue, obviously, and that it could be called the Palin Dome.
Because they're so close to Russia, you can see their football team from there.
Yes, and Russia will provide, and I quote, a scouting advantage on regarding as yet untapped talent pool from Russia.
Speaking of, like, buying merch, though, the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers, minor league baseball team, they are playing a game on June 20th as the Wisconsin Udder Tuggers.
That's utterly ridiculous. I'll be here all week.
Is so cool. If you haven't seen it, go Google it. The mascot is a cow with enlarged udders. They sold out of merch like pretty much immediately, but if they do a second release, I'm buying a baseball cap or a shirt or something because I think that's badass.
You silly sideways looking udder tugger.
Don't you call me an udder tugger, you lint licker.
Oh.
Remember that Orbitz commercial back from the day?
I don't, actually.
Really?
No, I'm struggling. My pop culture is lacking.
It's about, having a foul mouth and cleaning it up with Orbitz gum.
Ta-da!
I mean, pretty much. The last one on the list here is the Bismarck Glaciers, which, not the name-wise, but I think Bismarck, North Dakota, like, one of the Dakotas needs a football team.
It really does. That's a huge territory of land.
And Montana, too. Between those three, give them something.
I think between those 3 states, that's like 95% of the Great Plains.
It's huge. Now, the Glaciers that's a stupid name for being in North Dakota. Shouldn't it be like the Bismarck Empties?
It says that they've chosen Bismarck, North Dakota as a central location representing the states without NFL teams, such as Montana, Wyoming, and both of the Dakotas.
I actually didn't even read that line before I made my statement. Look how smart I am.
You're such a genie.
Please pat me on the back.
Pat, 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 pat.
Okay, what would be a better mascot than the Glaciers? Go. Top of your head. 3, 2, 1.
Rattlers? Rattlers was... You had just said the Timber Rattlers.
How about the Buffalo or the Bison? The Bismarck Bison?
That would be a cool name, actually, but there's already the Bills.
Damn it.
Oh, shit. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that to you, but I just happened by accident.
The last line of this article under Bismarck Glacier says, fans will wear wind turbines on their heads that can turn on small lights attached to their helmets.
That's very energy efficient.
The glaciers will operate completely on sustainable power, underlined by their pregame routine of having a famous person from the area crank a man-powered generator to turn the lights on. This is pretty clearly a gag article, but I think the cities themselves are legitimate, but it's obviously a pretty clearly a gag article. And reading through this, I feel like we could have written this.
Duh. But the thing here is that I think there's going to come a time that there's going to be an expansion, and there's nothing wrong with any of these cities other than San Diego.
My votes are for Anchorage, the Quad Cities, or Bismarck.
Those are probably the most ridiculous ones from this list.
No, they're the most feasible, honestly.
What? More feasible than Austin?
Yeah, fuck Austin.
More feasible than OKC?
Yeah, fuck that place too. They already have sports. Anchorage doesn't have sports.
There's no people there.
The Dakotas don't have sports.
All right, fair enough, but they also don't have...
There's also no people there. The Quad Cities barely have sports.
I think the Quad Cities could actually be all right. I think people would turn out for those NFL games.
I'm all about the Quad City Tractors and the Bismarck Glaciers. If they change the name from Glaciers, I'm all about both those.
Could they just be the Bismarckies? And they're just put, you got what I need.
That would be their entire,
But you say I'm just a friend.
They wouldn't play any hype-up music between downs.
But you say I'm just a friend.
It would just be Bismarcky between downs, between quarters.
Oh, man, you.
On repeat the whole time.
You got what I need.
That's enough, Jeezy.
And thanks for listening to our show, everybody. You've been listening to Gettin Cheezy with Van and Jeezy.
I'm Van.
And I'm Jeezy.
Your send-offs have been so good lately. They tickle me on the inside.
That's good. That's what I want to hear.
You can check us out a multitude of ways. You can check us out on Facebook, SoundCloud, YouTube, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play Music, iTunes, iHeartRadio, cheesypodcast.com. Or, new this week, you can call us or text us or leave us a voicemail. 980-2-CHEESY. That's cheesy with a Z. 980-224-3399.
Always leave a voicemail because we're generally not surveilling except during our actual podcast, and who knows if we'll even be faithful to that. So please leave a voicemail and we can play your audio.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.